my gorgeous plant people, welcome back to Rooting Mindfully. My name is Yana, and today I am just simply doing an updates video because you guys want to know what is going on with my plant collection, and so here I am letting you guys know what's going on. So let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So like I said, today I'm just giving you guys some updates about some things that are happening in my plant collection. Mainly why I brought some of my plants in from outside, update on my Anthuriums, those Aglaonemas that I propagated, and just things like that. So first of all, I just want to talk about the Aglaonemas that I propagated. A lot of you guys must have missed that other update that I did with my Aglaonemas and how I kind of botched the experiment that I had with them. But basically I ended up just putting my Aglaonemas in water, and I haven't touched this thing really besides today, which is kind of gross. But I just have my Aglaonemas in water, and as you can see or cannot see, they've actually grown roots. Well, it's mainly the Aglaonema stripes. The Aglaonema stripes that grew a lot of roots. I'm still waiting for the Aglaonema chocolate. It hasn't grown roots yet, but it's putting out new leaves, which is weird. So basically, I don't know, that might be a hit or miss for me. If I do buy any more Aglaonemas in the future, they will be at a substantial size. I will not be buying one stem Aglaonemas or even like a 4-inch Aglaonema, because I just feel like, based off of my experience with Aglaonemas, I've had a whole lot in my collection, at least 10. They do well for me when there are multiple Aglaonemas, multiple stems in the pot, or if it's a substantial size. So no longer will I be buying small ones, like I said, or one stem plants, because they end up not doing well for me. The second thing I wanted to update you guys on my collection is my Anthuriums. My Anthuriums are actually doing a lot better, and I think it's because I've been better with my watering, and nothing with my humidity has really changed. Although my humidity has been going down, which is so good. I've been keeping my humidity around 60%. It was around 70 to 75%, and that was just too high for me. And you can check out the humidity video that I did. I'll even link it up in the cards. But I've been trying to keep my humidity around 60%, and it's been so much more comfortable, and my plants are still growing well. So that's the range that I'm going to try to keep my humidity at. But here is one of my Anthuriums. This is my Anthurium magnificum. If you guys watched that other video, I had talked about how this leaf was going to be a huge leaf, and it was outside, and then the wind just basically cut it off, and I was kind of sad, but at the same time I was like, it's the process of nature. That's what happens in nature. So I brought my Anthuriums inside with all my other plants, and this is the latest leaf that it's put out. It's pretty nice size for a head comparison. Pretty nice size. It hasn't hardened off yet, and you can tell it hasn't hardened off yet because it still has that orangey tinge to it. But once it has hardened off, I'll probably post a picture of it on my Instagram stories or something like that, just so you guys can see what it looks like, in the full stage or whatever. But they are doing so much better. I haven't had any crisping or anything so far. And a lot of the newer leaves that I've gotten on my Anthuriums are looking so much better. They don't have too much crisping or anything like that. Another one that I have is my Anthurium forgetii. This was the last leaf that it put out, and I thought that this was a substantial size leaf until it put out the next one. It's also blooming at the same time. I haven't cut off the bloom or inflorescence yet. I don't know why, I just kind of like seeing them, so I haven't cut them off, but that's the last leaf that it put out. And then it put out this leaf. Now, this is a nice size leaf. If you can see, I still have some speckling, which means that I didn't quite get the moisture down, but it is a lot better compared to this leaf. And so my anthuriums are a little bit happier. I think I will have to eventually pot them into a different size pot because they are getting pretty stemmy here in the base, and they're a little bit wobbly. So I will probably have to repot them, as well as I'm starting to see some roots coming out of the bottom here. And so I will have to repot some of these plants. This will have to go in the 8-inch pot because right now it's in the 6-inch pot. But for right now, I'm just enjoying the fact that I am finally getting the watering down. But yeah, that's my Anthurium forgetii. And so the last update that I wanted to give you guys is the fact that I brought a lot of my plants inside. And now a lot of you guys wondered why I brought my plants inside. And the simple fact is that Mother Nature was being a enter word here. I think my plants were outside. I think I put my plants outside May 15th. I think they were only outside for about a week or two. And then I was planning to go on a trip with my friend to Myrtle Beach. And before we went on a trip, I think it was like 3 days or so before we were going on a trip, or the day before, there was this huge freaking rainstorm, like thunderstorm, and it was like bad. I mean, it was blowing things all over the place. It was like clapping really loud. It was total mayhem and destruction. And I think in some parts of my area, it even hailed. So I was like racing to bring my plants back inside. It was absolutely nuts. Then I think it rained that whole entire weekend, because I was texting my mom and she was telling me it was just like raining and raining and raining. So it rained the entire weekend. And then when we got back from Myrtle Beach, and I was only there for like a weekend, the temperature just dropped, and it dropped to like 50 degrees. And so then it was just too cold for the plants to be outside. And then after a couple days of it being cold, then it was extremely hot. We've been having like this heat wave where it's almost, if not more than 90 degrees almost every day. And I just don't have time to be dealing with Mother Nature. I'm not that person who wants to bring her plants in and out all summer long. That's not good for my back. My back hates me by the time that summer is over. So I had brought all of them inside. And then since the weather, it was doing its own thing, and I wanted something on my patio. I just wanted something, and I wasn't going to buy any more plants just to put plants outside. So what I did was I decided to put my snake plants outside. I put my rubber trees outside because they really love being outside. And in fact, some of them have already thrown out new leaves. And I'm going to enter a clip here, but I put it out my hardy plants, some of my hardy plants. I did the snake plants. I did my rubber trees. I put some plants outside that don't get enough love and attention. So I put some of my aglaonemas outside, and they seem to be liking it. And what else? I put some of my ZZs outside. And so those are the kind of plants that I have outside right now. I also did put out some variegated plants. So I have my Syngonium albo outside, as well as my variegated burl marks. And my burl marks is really enjoying being outside. It has thrown out the most beautifully variegated leaves that I've yet to get so far. So those plants are doing pretty well outside. I'm thinking about chopping up my albo, to be honest, because it's not as full as I would like it to be. It's looking a little scraggly. And so I think I might do a series where I fix up a couple plants And that's one where I'm thinking about chopping up and just kind of starting that one over. But yeah, so those are the plants that I have outside. In short, I mean, the reason why I brought my plants inside is because normally I really only like my plants to be outside if it's 85 degrees and lower. 85 degrees and lower is pretty high for plants. Plants like to be outside when it's about 80 to 85 at the highest. When you start hitting about 90 degrees, that's when your plants start to wilt. They'll start to deteriorate. It's just the same thing as plants being outside when it's below 50 degrees. So you just want to make sure that you watch out for the extremes. If you do have your plants outside, make sure you're watching for temperatures below 50 degrees and temperatures above 90, 85, 90 degrees. So that way you can maintain the health of your plants. A lot of people don't talk about the high end of the spectrum. They always talk about the low end of the spectrum, you know, when it gets cooler. But you also have to worry about the high end too, because you can wilt your plants and you could do some serious damage if they're out they're out there too long and there's no circulation or some coverage or, you know, things like that. So yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and make a note of that because a lot of people don't mention that. So that's why I brought my plants in, because there were a lot of days, almost every day, where it was 90 degrees, and I just had to bring them in before they all wilted, because a couple of plants were wilting, but then they were bouncing back when it got cooler, but then it was hot again. And so I didn't feel like dealing with all that. It normally doesn't get this hot until, I want to say, at least August or September. I normally can leave my plants. I've done this for 3 years before, and I've done this for about 2 summers before, and it normally doesn't get this hot until about August to September, and I'm normally just able to leave my plants out until October. So this year, I don't know if y'all believe in global warming or not, but it's a thing. I want to say it's a thing because, listen, it's never been this hot this early, and some of my plants were just not having a good time, and it was just too much rain, thunderstorms, and things like that, and I just didn't want to deal. But yeah, so there's no secrets or anything, just Mother Nature being her own person. And if you guys have your plants outside, or if you had to bring your plants in, or you have anything going on with your plant collection, leave it in the comment section below. I'm always curious to know. And as always, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching my videos, liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.